We are back on the Minister channel. I mean, we on the red. We on the Reverend Brother channel. The red. Come say hi to the red. Are you hanging out with the red? Alrighty, everybody. Minister Brother Derek here. I just want to do this real quick. It's 4:39, so let's go ahead and get it. Let's just go ahead and get this. But, I'm going to drop it for you. Stop, look, and listen. Please stop resisting. It's a new day. Let's try a new way. Jesus put an offer on the table, and everyone out there is now able to come home with God in your heart. You're never alone if you believe me. You don't need that weed. Give Jesus a hug and put down those drugs. The victory over death is already won. So why are you picking up that gun? If your spirit is activated, now think. Why do you need that alcoholic drink? Because the devil tells you. He rules you. He fools you. But the minister is here to school you. I'm here to preach. I'm here to teach. And it's you I'm trying to reach through this song that I composed. When Jesus comes back, only God knows. Are you ready or are you sin heavy? Are you ready or are you sin heavy? You won't be if you follow me. Alright, come on with it now. Oh God, what can I say about thee? You still love us sinners and you offer your grace for free. I'm not worthy, but you still search me out of a life of sin. And with Jesus' help, I know I can win. I love serving my Lord. He opens the door to a relationship with God. This is the only way in. In the name of Jesus, I always pray and I lay myself as a footstool for the lost demons. I know that fools. It's not cool to be a believer, but I'm not put my soul in the hands of the deceiver, a wicked devil who brings nothing but trouble. I put my desires on ice and long for reaching paradise. A day with no pain, no stress. You gave me the weight, and now I'm blessed. You can test me, let the devil stress me. But baby, hell is one place I don't want to see. So stop, look, and listen. Please stop resisting. It's a new day. Let's try a new way. Are you ready or are you sin heavy? Stop, look, and listen. Please stop resisting. It's a new day. Let's try a new way. Minister Brother Derek. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Peace, everyone. This is Minister Brother Derek. I'm coming at y'all real. And that's what I do. It's really hard to be a Christian in 2020. Yes, it is. Everybody seems to have a double stamp on it. And we don't get no respect in the world. We are considered weak. We are considered soft. We are considered dumb for believing in the book. But yet these people have no morals. And you see what the world is going through. We get no credit. So this is for those who are hanging on, who are remaining, who are clinging on to Jesus. Let's get it. Every day I dance before the Lord. So I stay connected to Jesus like an extension cord. I welcome all the strife as long as my name is in the book. Let my light shine. Let it broadcast worldwide. I let Jesus be my guide. And if he lets me live another day, I'll continue to come to the people and say, stop being selfish, stop sinning, come to God and start winning. I really believe the Lord is in control. Heaven is my goal, this earth is the first level. I help my fellow man deal with the devil. He's a liar, he's a fraud. His desire is to keep me away from my God. The most people I come off as righteous, but if tempted, I might just do a few of the things that God can't stand, he frowns on. Every day, I've been reborn, I've been hit with many opportunities. I cannot remain in unity with the Holy Father. Sometimes I wonder, is it worth the bother? I remain devout, but it feels like I'm missing out. Most of the people that I meet who lie, steal and cheat, seem content, while Christians like me, our time is spent struggling. It should be the other way around. I'm not complaining, but how can you tell someone who's living it up to give it up when they're posting high? Doing right is a headache. There's got to be a better road to take. You know, a middle ground between Jesus and Satan. debating for what I'm waiting for. Satan is winning the battle, but God is winning the war. Every day I dance before the Lord, so I stay connected to Jesus like an extension cord. I welcome all the strife as long as my name is in the book of life. So let my light shine, let it broadcast worldwide. I'll let Jesus be my guide, and if he lets me live another day, I'll continue to come to the people and say, stop being selfish, stop sinning, come to God and start winning. I roll with the Lord who is in control. Getting to heaven is my goal. This earth is the first level. I help my fellow man deal with the devil. He's a liar, he's a fraud. His desire is to keep me away from my God. It's a struggle every day to stay on course. I'm behind the enemy line, so I use the word of God as my force, my resource. Becoming immune to the negativity that surrounds me. The devil has a bounty on my head. Sometimes I dread coming outdoors. I feel like I've been drafted for war. But it's okay, the devil can play his mind game, but he can't hurt me where it counts. That's spiritually. He tries to distract me physically, financially, but these things don't mean jack to me. I turn my back to thee. It's not easy. It's in man nature to be greedy. So I always want what we can't have. A material thing mean nothing to me. Hey, don't make me laugh. A Buick or a Benz, what's the difference? It's all show. Cause both of these vehicles take me where I got to go. But if I cheat or steal, then I lose God's protection. For a house or election, to be under the direction of a sick demon, whose goal is to own my soul. No thanks, I roll with the Lord who is in control. Every day I dance before the Lord, so I stay connected to Jesus like an extension cord. I welcome all the strife as long as my name is in the book of life. Let my light shine, let it broadcast worldwide. I let Jesus be my guide, and if he lets me live another day, I'll continue to come to the people and say, stop being selfish, stop sinning. Come to God and start winning. Minister Brother Derek. Let's get it. Welcome to the Minister Brother Derek Show, and I am Minister Brother Derek. I just want to say that I love Jesus, and that's the title of this song. I love you, Jesus. We'll follow you wherever you lead us. I love you, Jesus. Don't let the devil deceive us. Can't get enough. I love my Jesus. Well, people say to keep it real, but here's the deal. If you're not saved, you're missing out. If you're not born again, your future is in doubt. Your body wasn't made to last. When your time comes, it will be reduced to ash. Your flesh will rot, but your light will not. You know your soul will go on forever, so you better realize that you need God, or you will be surprised by the pain of a flame that never goes out. The pits of hell, where the heat swells up, there's no relief, not for a moment of peace. The agony and cries never cease, and someone in the background singing, burn, baby, burn. This isn't normal. Burn, baby, burn. I'm a walking inferno. But seriously though, this will happen if Jesus come back and finds you napping. See, no one knows the time of day, but if you follow the word, it won't matter anyway. Because in heaven, no one will ever be sick or shed a tear. So in this realm, I show no fear. What you gonna do? Kill me? Make me a martyr? Give me a head start? Put me on the fast track? So keep macking, keep stacking, keep on shacking up. But get caught napping and the jig is up. And I just want to say, I love you, Jesus. Follow you wherever you lead us. I love you, Jesus. Don't let that devil deceive us. I love you, Jesus. If you think that Witnessing to your neighbors is weird. Think of foreign countries where statues of idols are revered. Nations of people who don't know God. Only mythical characters like a Apollo, Bel, or Zar. Most Americans believe in one Lord, one superior being. Christians should be scorned of souls by the million, but we spend our time fulfilling the desires of our flesh. We won't give Jesus our best effort, but we ask for blessings that we don't deserve. And you wonder why our prayers are not heard. In church, you put down those you really admire. You know you have a desire to make that easy money. Drive the fancy car. You feel like a star. When you enter the bars or clubs, deep down your spirit isn't for God or his ways. So why should anybody listen to a darn thing you say? I love you, Jesus. Follow you wherever you lead us. I love you, Jesus. Don't let the devil deceive us. I love you, Jesus. We'll follow you wherever you lead us. Let the Holy Spirit lead us. And one more time. I love you, Jesus. All right, y'all, let's get it. Let's get to the Bible study. The Minister, Brother Derek Show. Let's get it. Sorry, y'all, my stomach is growling. My bad. I'm fixing my Haterade. Let's go ahead and do this. My glove is caught in daggone brakes. And I'm going the wrong way on a one-way street. So anything that happens to me, I deserve it. Like this. guy in the way. I'm looking at him like, look at this guy in the way. We both thinking the same thing. Except I'm wrong. Because I'm going down the wrong way. So technically I'm wrong. Blocking the whole highway. From when the chain came off, y'all. That's crazy. But it is what it is. So is the camera too loud? That'd be a little bit too loud. Rolling in. Alrighty, who's here today? Hey, buddy. I was just saying the other day you wasn't here.
Come on, man. Y'all start bringing that button here, man.
You give me a hard time, man. I only come here 3 times a month. Why you give me a hard time? I don't bother nobody.
Always bring that button. Somebody can steal that button, man.
Okay. That's a chance we take.
I ain't watching you either, man.
I might get shot.
It's not going to let us do that.
I live in Baltimore City. Actually, I got the wrong key.
You remember my key with mine?
Oh my God. You on it?
Oh, you did? You know what I mean, right?
No. What does it say?
Damn, ain't nothing wrong with you, bro.
Hold them up, baby. Oh, yeah, guaranteed. Understand? I know all. That's up to them. Yeah, man. What's up? You talking, man?
All right, but they cost $300 a piece.
Y'all can buy multiple bus passes. That's what it was.
This bike gives me a harder time than the other one did.
Hey, Donnell, throw those up.
There we go. There we go. Now she ain't going nowhere. Alright, let's get our prescriptions and get out of here.
You got medicine?
Give me your own wrist.
It's optional. You don't need one. Oh, I want it.
I thought when that look last no more like that ain't good.
Where mine go?
I was trying to get
She don't come at 8 o'clock.
What's up? What's called doing that? Well, mine to verify the passport so she can I don't know. ID.
Belated here to the front, please, thank you.
I see 3 too.
I see 30.
I'm doing curbside. It's been a long night. What are you doing today?
It's good too. And then I can get in the shower with them on the side.
card number for that? Oh, okay. $14.99. Give it 1 second. He's right there. Yes. 30 minutes, right? The tickets. It's fine. Let's go back up. That's why I called you the front.
No, it wasn't even allowed to do it.
They should have tried that in there.
It wasn't even allowed to do it.
Yeah, system shoulder. Yeah, system shoulder. That's why I did it multiple times.
Right.
Yeah.
That's probably like from earlier when I said.
She was in here about 4 o'clock. I mean 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Alright,
So definitely
yeah. That's why the system's blocked out.
I'm glad it did.
Yeah. So we didn't get on your bro.
Right.
Go ahead, you got a call that?
Call that.
No, I walked past your house and I seen the silver car in front of your house over the show.
Oh, no. Oh, right there.
She's still mad.
She never was mad at me.
Well, that day when you told me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, nice.
Let's speed this up. My inseam only 29 and a half. These black tires are 27 and a half. And if you add this bloke to the what you call from the leg over, it's gonna bring the backpack higher than the seat is. Which is gonna mess with my oh, I see. So I got time. Ain't right. Okay, now can we roll? ain't nobody in here.
Yo.
How you doing? Yeah. Sometimes people say stupid things, and what I just said was stupid. I'm offended! It's too hot. Hey Nia, is the camera too high? Why y'all not telling me this stuff? It's just a little too high. It ain't much high, it's a little too high. A longer trip. Well, the sun went down. It was warm out here. That the Amazon delivery? I think I have to go back and open the door for the Amazon man. Alrighty, y'all. We use y'all to keep y'all busy while I put the food away. And also, I have cooked my food so that it's ready to go. We on the Bible study, and I could just read some more out of Acts and cheap out. But I wanted to stay on our topic. I wanted to stay on our topic. You know, because somebody said that the devil's greatest trick was convincing everybody he don't exist. Well, his second biggest trick must be convincing everybody that God and Jesus are wussies. I didn't stutter. But I keep hearing people talk about how much Jesus and God love us. And they're going to let us walk all over top of them. And we ain't got to follow none of their commands. We ain't got to follow none of their laws. And we can keep doing what we want to do. And the more and more I look, the more I see that preaching. Even back to the biblical days. Jesus was killed for saying that he was the Son of God. So they'll kill you for saying you the Son of God. But they'll also kill you if you pull them up with the commands of God. Oh, we ain't got to follow them. So if I say I'm the Son of God, you want to kill me. But when I call you out for not following his commands, you want to kill me. Where's the logic in that? No sex before marriage. I'm going to have sex whenever I want to. No problem. But if I tell you, hey, I talked to God yesterday, you want to kill me. Who are you that God want to talk to you? We need to get this person off the planet. So his laws don't mean anything. His word don't mean nothing when you want to do what you want to do. But if somebody else comes up and says, hey, I'm a God, no, you're not. You want to kill him. God said, don't worship anybody else. You got posters of LeBron James, Michael Jordan on your wall. You got pinup posters, Trinston, on your wall. No idolatry. What is an idol? An idol is an inanimate object that you worship, or an animal, a tree, the ocean, fish, anything. God says you should only worship me. I'm a jealous God. But you worship money. You worship clothes. You worship cars. You said I said this last week. Well, I want to take you to a few examples because today's topic is the power of his anger. So let's take a look at 1 Samuel 17, 16, 40. Hold on, I don't want this one yet. I know. Let's go to number 16. Korah, the son of Azar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and certain Reubenites, Davin and Abiram, sons of Eliab, and on son of Peleth, became insolent and rose up against Moses. With them were about 250 Israelite men, well-known community leaders who had been appointed members of the council. They came as a group to oppose Moses and Aaron and said to them, "You have gone too far. The whole community is holy, every one of them, and the Lord is with them. Why then do you set yourselves above the Lord's assembly?" What you have here is a clash of the Titans. You know that Moses and Aaron represent God. You know that the Levites are the sons of Aaron, and that they became the priests. They became the clergy. But you got people, some of them from the tribe of the Levites. They ain't got together. They consider themselves to be community leaders. They on the council. And they feel that Moses and Aaron is leaving them out of the important decisions. See, even though they have rank, they want more. They want to be more in the know. It's not enough to be above everybody else. They want to be on the same level as Aaron and Moses, to the point that they want to pull down Aaron and Moses. Why do you set yourselves above the Lord's assembly? They're community leaders, but they're calling themselves the Lord's assembly. The Lord didn't call them the Lord's assembly. The Lord didn't say, "Hey, you need to go jump on Moses and Aaron and yank them down a few pegs." Their own egos did. So even in the high position that they was, they got that voice in their head telling them, "Hey, we shouldn't just settle for being underneath Moses and Aaron. We need to go get them." Don't they mind you of crabs in a barrel? You ain't leaving this barrel. I'm pulling you back in. I ain't going to try and climb over top of you. I'm going to pull you back in. When Moses heard this, he fell face down. Then he said to Korah and all his followers, "In the morning the Lord will show you who belongs to him and who is holy, and he will have that person come near him. The man he chooses, he will cause to come near him. You, Korah, and all your followers are to do this. Take censers, and tomorrow put burning coals and incense in them before the Lord. The man the Lord chooses will be the one who is holy. you Levites have gone too far. Moses also said to Korah, now listen, you Levites, isn't it enough for you that the God of Israel has separated you from the rest of the Israelite community and brought you near himself to do the work at the Lord's tabernacle and to stand before the community and minister to them? He has brought you and all your fellow Levites near himself, but now you are trying to get the priesthood too. It is against the Lord that you and all your followers have banded together. And who has earned that you should grumble against him? Then Moses summoned Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eli, but they said, we will not come. Isn't it enough that you have brought us up out of a land flowing with milk and honey to kill us in the wilderness? And now you also want to lord it over us. Moreover, you haven't brought us into a land flowing with milk and honey, or given us an inheritance of fields and vineyards. Do you want to treat these men like slaves? No, we will not come. So basically, you got Aaron's children. These are Aaron's children. The Levites are the sons of Aaron. They have been set aside as God's priests and ministers. Their job is to minister and give the word to the people. Their job is to oversee the sacrifices. The reward for their job is they get to eat the food, because God only wants the fat burnt on the altar. They get to eat the meat. As much as people sin, they probably had more meat than they knew what to do with. But also, people were to tithe 10% of what they earned. Whether you had money, whether you had crops, grapes, oranges, corn, pears, whatever the hell you grew, you had to give 10% of it. Where did that go to? That went to the clergy. You know that 10% of 100 is $10. You know that 10% of $1,000 is $100. So imagine you got 1 or 2 million people. They're all giving you 10%. Why can't you live on that? They're angry. They want more. We're not allowed to own land, so we can't go out there and make our own money. And we tired of making do. You don't have to do any hard labor. All you got to do is teach God's word and keep the temple up. Or the tent at the time they had. You had all you could eat. The money from the temple treasury was for you to do and get whatever you need that people didn't give you. Whether it was the farmers or whatever. If there was somebody that grew horses, they would have to give you 10% of the horses that was on that farm. If they had sheep, they had to give you 10%. They had cattle, they had to give you 10%. So they had money. So now they saying we ain't happy. We want more, and we want to be in charge. We don't want to stay here at the holy tent and minister to people. We want to go out and be among the people like you are, like you and I. Next thing they're going to ask for, they want to talk to God. That's going to be the next thing they ask for. Then Moses became very angry and said to the Lord, do not accept their offering. I have not taken so much as a donkey from them, nor have I wronged any of them. Moses said to Korah, you and all your followers are to appear before the Lord tomorrow. You, they, and Aaron. Each man is to take his censer and put incense into it, 250 censers in all, and present it before the Lord. You and Aaron are to present your censers also. So each of them took his censers, put burning coals and incense into it, and stood with Moses and Aaron at the entrance to the tent of meeting. When Korah had gathered all his followers in opposition to them at the entrance at the tent of meeting, the glory of the Lord appeared to the entire assembly. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, separate yourself from this assembly so I can put an end to them at once. So these men talked all that trash. God came there and said, Moses and Aaron, you better get out the way. I'm about to get rid of these suckers. I'm about to put something on them. They got the devil in them, and they're going to wind up corrupting the whole community. Get out the way and let me get rid of them. But Moses and Aaron fell face down and cried out, O God, the God who gives us breath to all living things, will you be angry with the entire assembly when only one man sins? Then the Lord said to Moses, say to the assembly, move away from the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. Moses got up and went to Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. He warned the assembly, move back from the tents of these wicked men. Do not touch anything belonging to them, or you will be swept away because of all their sins. So they moved away from the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. Dathan and Abiram had come out and were standing with their wives and children and little ones at the entrances to their tents. Then Moses said to them, this is how you will know that the Lord has sent me to do all these things and that it was not my idea. If these men die natural death and suffer the fate of all mankind, then the Lord has not sent me. But if the Lord brings about something totally new, and the earth opens his mouth and swallows them with everything that belongs to them, and they go down alive into the realm of the dead, then you will know that these men have treated the Lord with contempt. As soon as he finished saying all this, the ground under them split apart, and the earth opened his mouth and swallowed them and their households, and all those associated with Korah, together with their possessions. They went down alive into the realm of the dead with everything they owned. The earth closed over them, and they perished and were gone from the community. At their cries, all the Israelites around them fled, shouting, the earth is going to swallow us too. And fire came from the Lord and consumed the 250 men who were offering the incense. The Lord said to Moses, tell Eleazar, am I saying it right? Son of Aaron, the priest, to remove the censers from the charred remains and scatter the coals some distance away, for the censers are holy. The censers of the men who sinned at the cost of their lives. Hammer the censers into sheets to overlay the altar, for they will be presented before the Lord and have become holy, and let them be a sign to the Israelites. So Eleazar the priest collected the bronze censers brought by those who had been burned to death and had them hammered out to overlay the altar, as the Lord directed him through Moses. This was to remind the Israelites that no one except a descendant of Aaron should come to burn incense before the Lord, or they will become like Korah and his followers. Now, after seeing this, watch this. After seeing this, the people fled, right? The next day, the whole Israelite community grumbled against Moses and Aaron. You have killed the Lord's people, they said. So even seeing this, seeing the ground open up and swallow all those people who dared stand against the Lord, who dared stand against his representatives, Moses and Aaron, seeing the fire come down and strike the men that were holding up the incense. And the incense has got to be a long incense stick. The people still came back the next day grumbling. Instead of being in fear, they came back the next day grumbling. Human beings is hard-headed. You ever had somebody in your life that wouldn't leave you alone and you beat them up? And they left you alone for like 3 or 4 months, and then they came back, you had to beat them again. And they came back again. You ever had a child who does something you tell them not to do, and you punish them or you whip them, and they good for a little bit, and then they come back and do the same thing? You had to whoop them again. What is wrong with us human beings? We have the ability to remember, but we have the ability to forget. The fact that somebody can beat you up one day and a week later you forget about it. Somebody could do you wrong. I've seen kids fight and the next day be the best of friends and then fight again the next week. It's something in us. It's something in us that makes us retarded. For you to sit there and see all that goes on, you still grumbling? The man and all his followers and all the belongings and all their houses and everything they own got swallowed up by the earth. Then he dumped a whole bunch of fire on top of them. And you still the next day, look, I don't care what happened yesterday. Look, this is what? This is why it doesn't matter. With Jesus being there for that 1,000-year reign, there are still going to be people. Yeah, it's nice having a perfect body and everything is all nice. But you know, that guy at the end of the block, there's something about him. It's always going to be that way. As long as man has free will. What is Tristan saying? In today's world, God's word is not cutting it. I just look around. Who agrees? This is why the world is in chaos. And think about this: religious leaders of the faith are to blame. Their stance is division instead of inclusion. Think about it. God did not want robots when you die and go to heaven. The people there will be from all faith. Remember, faith to God is not exclusively in one faith. Some will disagree, but what do I know? I think I am drunk. He said it's called weak genes. So even after seeing all of that, the people still grumbled against Moses and Aaron. But when the assembly gathered in opposition to Moses and Aaron and turned toward the tent of meeting. So hold on a second. After all that, the people still say, hey, we still want to take over. We see what the Lord done, but you know what? Put on it. We ain't going to run this. They gathered in opposition and turned toward the tent of meeting. Suddenly the cloud covered it, and the glory of God appeared. Then Moses and Aaron went to the front of the tent of meeting, and the Lord said to Moses, "Get away from this assembly, so I can put all of them at once." And they fell face down. Y'all keep saying the Lord a punk. But we know that's Jesus, but doing the work of the Lord. But y'all keep saying they punks. They being challenged. The two men that they have appointed to be their representatives are being challenged. And even after seeing the power of the Lord, the people still want to challenge. They still think they right. They still think they can be God. When they started heading toward the tent, Jesus came down there in the cloud and said, He told Moses, "Get away from the assembly so I could put it in them at once." So he had to come down there. What they saw the day before, forgotten. He had to come down there again. Then Moses said to Aaron, "Take your censer and put incense in it, along with burning coals from the altar, and hurry to the assembly to make atonement for them. Wrath has come out from the Lord. The plague has started." So Aaron did as Moses said and ran into the midst of the assembly. The plague had already started among the people, but Aaron offered the incense and made atonement for them. He stood between the living and the dead, and the plague stopped. But 14,700 people died from the plague, in addition to those who had died because of Korah. Then Aaron returned to Moses at the entrance to the tent of meeting, for the plague had stopped. Not counting the 250 followers that were holding the censers that Jesus just burnt up. Not counting Korah, all his family, and the people that stayed with him when they told him to get away. They all died. And yet they still was bucking on the Lord. That another 14,700 people had to die. So when somebody say, with Jesus in charge for 1,000 years, how could so many people line up the battle with Satan so quickly? Look at what's going on with him. He's there in the cloud. They see what he do, and they still keep bucking. The same way, you got people in all these different camps around the country plotting against the government. To the people that's not in the camp, they go pick on them. But when the government come around and start looking for them, they run. They run even further into the hills. Don't y'all find that strange? I think the only cult that actually fought back was the Davidians. Most of them, when the government come for them, they turn tail and run. I think the Davidians was one of the few that actually stood there and fought. But I just wanted to show y'all, this isn't something new. This is something that never ends. Somebody always is going to buck the system. Somebody always is going to try to bring their own thought. Somebody always. Would you say breaking news, but Russia shielded Europe's biggest nuclear plant, shelled it. And Russia shelled Europe's biggest nuclear plant. He said he think Putin is pushing for World War. Well, Putin's embarrassed right now. He supposed to have the greatest army in the world. And they supposed to went over there and beat up the Ukraine. But the Ukraine ain't gave up nothing. That's why he had to go to the missiles. Apparently, the Russian soldiers ain't good fighters. They ain't took over nothing. He gonna have to start nuking. Start bombing. See, this is why the United States go to great lengths to keep countries like North Korea, Turkey, Syria, Iran. They try to keep these countries from developing nuclear war because everybody knows their armies ain't worth two pieces of dookie. And everybody know it. That's why they keep trying to get nuclear weapons. Because they can't fight. But I can bomb you to death, but I can't beat you up. But I can bomb you to death. That way I ain't got to fight you. So Putin is finding out his army, without the missiles, ain't doing nothing. Oh, Pooty Poo is finding out that his soldiers are being treated like hooty hoo. So now he wants to start sending missiles. You supposed to have the best army in the world. You should be able to go beat anybody up. He's dropping shells on civilian targets. Isn't that something cowardly? Isn't that something North Korea would do? Isn't that something that Turkey would do? I'm just asking. You're supposed to be the most high-tech country in the world. Supposed to be the best in the Olympics, the best in everything. But you can't beat up little Ukraine. He's going to rule over the people that don't die. When all the bowls are being poured out, they're still on the earth. After the battle with the beast, the Antichrist, and the devil, the people that still living are going to have a chance. The ones that survive are going to have a chance. That's my belief. Now, somebody else might say something different. It don't say nothing about nobody coming from anywhere until after that second battle. The rapture, before the bowls come out, and the four horsemen and all that. Whoever is left, whoever's still alive, they're going to be given a chance. That's why I said, I hope I'm not alive when it comes. they're going to be given a chance. They're going to lock the devil up for 1,000 years. Then they're going to be set free. And these people have had a chance. And guess what? Half of them are going to go join the devil and fight against Jesus. The same way that I just showed you that people that had rank and had position, people who seen the power of God, they still turned around and were moaning and groaning. Nia says he'll be overthrown if we keep this up, talking about Putin. Kristen said, Derek, did you see the video when Russia sent a missile to a building and blew up the building in the parking lot? No. I've been trying to just pray that, you know, that they come to their common sense. But as we see from what we just looked at, some people ain't going to come to their common sense. These people were there and saw what God did and came back the next day bucking on them. They came back the very next day. He said it's called war. These men got together who hold a little bit of power over the other people. And it wasn't enough. They want more power. Russia got power. Russia don't need the Ukraine. They've been separate from the Ukraine for years. Why do they all of a sudden want them? Christian says, by the way, Putin believes in Jesus. He is a Christian. A lot of people will tell you they believe in Jesus, and they'll slit your throat in the next second. What's your point? What did their actions say? Don't tell me what the mouth say. What do the actions say? There are people that can go sit in the church, come out the church and go participate in the drive-by. When they get caught, they'll tell you they believe in Jesus. What's your point? Anybody can tell you something. I believe I'm 10 feet tall until I stand next to somebody who is 10 feet tall. And I have to realize, hey, wait a minute. I'm about 4.5 feet short. Maybe I'm not 10 feet tall. And you got some people that say, well, he might be taller than me, but I'm better than him. He might be taller, but I'm better. All right? The human mind can make their own reality. After just seeing what happened to Korah, his family, and the people who, when Moses told them, you better get away from them, they stayed. To his followers, they had the incense in their hand. The fire came down from the sky and burnt them to a crisp. These people still came back the next day. The onlookers. Yeah, well, you know, it ain't right what Moses and them did, you know. We still going to take over. What? They should have been bowing and saying, forgive us, and nope. We pig-headed. We hard-headed. And even when we see defeat, we still say, hey, I can tell you right now, Putin might be the 2022 version of Pharaoh. Russia is not going to beat the United Nations. Russia is not going to beat the United Nations. Now we know that Mexico has sided with Russia. So you telling me that Russia and Mexico is going to take over every other country in the United Nations, including the United States? That's going to be a whooping. Where will the citizens of Russia, when they start to flee, where are they going? Where are they going to go? Not many nations are going to stand with Russia because they're wrong. Where are their people going to be a refugee at? Where are they going to hide? Everywhere they go. People are going to be at war with them. They're going to wind up beating them up. Hey, come on. I ain't going to sit down from that way. Hey, come here for? Your soldiers just killed my son. What you in here for? Where they going to go? Putin going to back himself in the corner he can't get out of. But his ego and that voice in his head is going to keep telling him. And like Tristan said earlier, like I said last week, who going to get on the plane and go over there and assassinate him? It's going to take one of his own people to do it. When they get the cojones, they will do it. The same way these people was bucking up against Aaron and Moses. The Russian people have to buck up to their own leaders. The same way them people that was trying to get in here last year, running up. Was it 2 years ago? Was it last year? People were trying to run up here from South America, trying to bully Mexico and letting them cross over to the United States. They should have got together. They could all get together and walk all them hundreds of miles, but they can't pick up something and go bust the leaders in the back of their damn head. You must have something to rule. You can't kill all your daggone people. Who you going to be over? Who's going to bring you money if you kill them all? The people used to run the government. Not a select few, but now a select few and everybody else just go along. When everybody pick up something and say, hey, you ain't doing that in my country, we gonna fight. When the rest of the world see you standing up, they're gonna join you. They're gonna back you. They're gonna send you weapons. They're gonna send you soldiers. But when you go run, don't nobody want to back a loser. Who want to back a coward? Coward will turn around and turn you in. Get you snuck from behind. The other article I wanted us to look at was a little. It wasn't as bad as that one. I wanted you to see the power of the Lord in a good way. Hey, what happened? Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. You say you laughing your butt off. Yeah, Mexico said they stand with Russia. Mexico lost their mind. They must think Russia gonna win, or Russia and gave them something and bought them off. All right, I wanted to look at the story of David. Y'all know King David. This is 1 Samuel 16-40. Goliath challenged the Israelites every morning and evening for 40 days. One day, Jesse said to David, take 10 kilograms of this roasted grain and these 10 loaves of bread, and hurry with them to your brothers in the camp. So Jesse is David's father. And he said, take these 10 cheeses to the commanding officer. Find out how your brothers are getting along, and bring back something to show that you saw them and that they are well. King Saul, your brothers, and all the other Israelites are in the valley of Elah fighting the Philistines. David got up early the next morning, left someone else in charge of the sheep. He took the food and went as Jesse had told him to. He arrived at the camp just as the Israelites were going out to their battle line, shouting the war cry. The Philistine and the Israelite armies took up positions for battle, facing each other. David left the food with the officer in charge of the suppliers, ran to the battle line, went to his brothers, and asked how they were getting on. As he was talking to his brothers, Goliath came forward and challenged the Israelites as he had done before. And David heard him. When the Israelites saw Goliath, they ran away in terror. Look at them, they said to each other. Listen to his challenge. King Saul has promised to give a big reward to the man who kills him. The king will also give him his daughter to marry, and will not require his father's family to pay taxes. David asked the men who were near him, What will a man get who kills this Philistine and free Israel from disgrace? After all, who is this heathen Philistine to defy the army of the living God? They told him what will be done for the man who killed Eliab. Eliab, David's eldest brother, heard David talking to the men. He was angry with David and said, What are you doing here? Who is taking care of those sheep of yours out there in the wilderness? You cheeky brat. You just came to watch the fighting. Now what have I done? David asked. Can't I even ask the question? He turned to another man and asked him the same question. And every time he asked, he got the same answer. Some men heard what David had said, and they told Saul, who sent for him. David said to Saul, Your Majesty, no one should be afraid of this Philistine. I will go and fight him. No, answered Saul. How could you fight him? You're just a boy, and he's been a soldier all his life. Your Majesty, David said, I take care of my father's sheep. Whenever a lion or a bear carries off a lamb, I go after it, attack it, and rescue the lamb. And if the lion or bear turns on me, I grab it by the throat and beat it to death. I have killed lions and bears, and I will do the same to this heathen Philistine who has defiled the army of the living God. The Lord has saved me from lions and bears. He will save me from this Philistine. All right, Saul answered, Go, and the Lord be with you. He gave his own armor to David for him to wear, a bronze helmet which he put on David's head and a coat of armor. David strapped Saul's sword over the armor and tried to walk, but he couldn't because he wasn't used to wearing them. I can't fight with all this, he said to Saul. I'm not used to it. So he took it all off. He took a shepherd's stick and then picked up 5 smooth stones from the stream and put them in his bag. I told y'all as a boy, I used to do the same thing. I had more than 5 though. And I used to sit on the curb and I would scratch them in all directions to make them sharp. With his sling ready, he went out to meet Goliath. Let me blow this up so y'all can see it. Y'all should be able to see this now on your screen. The Philistine started walking towards David with his shield bearer walking in front of him. he kept coming closer. He kept coming closer, and when he got a good look at David, he was filled with scorn for him, because he was just a nice, good-looking boy. He said to David, "What is that stick for? Do you think I'm a dog?" And he called down curses from his God on David. "Come on," he challenged David, "and I will give your body to the birds and animals to eat." David answered, "You are coming against me with a sword, spear, and javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the Israelite armies, which you have defiled. This very day the Lord will put you in my power. I will defeat you and cut off your head, and I will give the bodies of the Philistine soldiers to the birds and animals to eat. Then the whole world will know that Israel has a God, and everyone here will see the Lord does not need swords or spears to save his people. He is victorious in battle, and he will put all of you in our power." Goliath started walking towards David again, and David ran quickly toward the Philistine battle line to fight him. He put his hand into his bag and took out a stone, which he slung at Goliath. It hit him on the forehead and broke his skull, and Goliath fell face down, was on the ground. And so, without a sword, David defeated and killed Goliath with a sling and a stone. He ran to him, stood over him, took Goliath's sword out of his sheath, and cut off his head and killed him. When the Philistines saw their hero was dead, they ran away. The men of Israel and Judah shouted and ran after them, pushing them all the way to Gath and to the gates of Ekron. The Philistines fell wounded all along the road that leads to Sheriam and as far as Gath and Ekron. When the Israelites came back from pursuing the Philistines, they looted their camp. David picked up Goliath's head and took it to Jerusalem, but he kept Goliath's weapons in his own tent. David is presented to Saul. When Saul saw David going out to fight Goliath, he asked Abner, the commander of his army, "Abner, whose son is he?" "I have no idea, your majesty," Abner answered. "Then go and find out," Saul ordered. So when David returned to camp after killing Goliath, Abner took him to Saul. David was still carrying Goliath's head. Saul asked him, "Young man, whose son are you?" "I am the son of your servant Jesse from Bethlehem," David answered. Saul and David finished their conversation. After that, Saul's son Jonathan was deeply attracted to David and came to love him as much as he loved himself. Saul kept David with him from that day on and did not let him go back home. Jonathan swore eternal friendship with David because of his deep affection for him. He took off the robe he was wearing and gave it to David, together with his armor and also his sword, bow, and belt. David was successful in all the missions on which Saul sent him on, so Saul made him an officer in his army. This pleased all of Saul's officers and men. Now, Saul was chosen by God to be the first king. God didn't want Israel to have a king, but the people, once again, moaning and groaning, they wanted to be like everybody else. So his appointed king didn't have the courage to go out there and fight Goliath, nor did any of the other Israelites. So when Saul saw that he beat Goliath and that he was successful on every campaign that he went on, Saul wouldn't let him go back home. Saul kept him close. Remember that saying, keep your friends close and your enemies closer? Now, the problem is when you bring a stranger in, and this stranger start to get more shine than you. You were chosen by God to be the first king. But here comes this little boy who's coming up and growing up around everybody in the spotlight now, and everybody see that God is with him. Now you're going to become jealous. You're going to be envious. If you're not right, if you're right with God, you welcome him as an associate. But you got a fragile ego, you're going to become concerned. As David was returning after killing Goliath, and as the soldiers were coming back home, women from every town in Israel came out to meet King Saul. There were joyful songs, dancing, and playing tambourines and lyres. In their celebration, the women sang, Saul has killed thousands, but David tens of thousands. Uh-oh, here come the women. Uh-oh, here come the women. Everything was fine, but here come the women. The women are singing songs about David. The women are putting the young boy over the old king. Saul did not like this. He became very angry. He said, for David, they claimed tens of thousands, but only thousands for me. They will be making him king next. And so he was jealous and suspicious of David from that day on. The next day, an evil spirit from God suddenly took control of Saul, and he raved in his house like a madman. David was playing a harp as he did every day, and Saul was holding a spear. I'll pin him to the wall, said to himself, and he threw the spear at David twice, but David dodged it each time. Saul was afraid of David because the Lord was with David, but had abandoned him. So Saul sent him away and put him in command of 1,000 men. David led his men into battle and was successful in all he did because the Lord was with him. Saul noticed David's success and became even more afraid of him. But everyone in Israel and Judah loved David because he was such a successful leader. Then Saul said to David, here's my elder daughter, Merab. I will give her to you as your wife on condition that you serve me as a brave and loyal soldier and fight the Lord's battles. All right, hold on a sec. I want y'all to see something. I want y'all to notice something. In the beginning, when David kept saying, the person who killed Goliath, what do they get? Every man told him that they would get to marry the king's daughter, and their family would never have to pay taxes. So he already met. David had already met the requirements to marry his daughter. Why is Saul making him be his slave to fight for him in the army? He already earned the right when he killed Goliath. He earned the right to marry Saul's daughter. Did anybody catch that? But we can go back and look. Whoever slayed Goliath was going to get to marry the king's daughter. Why does David have to sell his soul to Saul to marry the daughter? He has to become a slave to King Saul, but he already earned the right by killing David. See how people switch up? They change the rules. They move the goalposts. When you're ready to kick it, when you're ready to kick the football, they move the goalposts. He will give his daughter to him, a daughter that he already earned, on condition that you serve me as a brave and loyal soldier and fight the Lord's battles. Saul was thinking in this way, the Philistines will kill David, and he would not have to do it himself. David answered, who am I, and what is my family, that I should become the king's son-in-law? But when the time came for Merab to be given to David, she was given instead to a man named Adriel from Meholah. Hold on a second. So hold on a second. David was supposed to marry the daughter of the king when he killed Goliath. But David never cashed it in. He never even asked. But Saul comes to David and says, I will give you my oldest daughter if you will come serve me in my army. When the time comes for him to marry that daughter, Saul let her marry somebody else. So David got cheated twice out of marrying a king's daughter. He earned that right when he killed Goliath. Then Saul gave him the right, and at the last minute, he took it away. Saul knows this man is with God. He got God with him. Why does he keep trying to screw him over? What is in our minds that make us do the stupidest stuff and think we're going to get away with it? He ain't screwed the man twice. Saul's daughter, Michal, however, fell in love with David. And when Saul heard of this, he was pleased. He said to himself, I'll give Michal to David. I will use her to trap him, and he will be killed by the Philistines. So for the second time, Saul said to David, you will be my son-in-law. He ordered his officials to speak privately to David and tell him, the king is pleased with you, and all his officials like you. Now is a good time for you to marry his daughter. So they told David this, and he answered, it is a great honor to become the king's son-in-law, too great for someone poor and insignificant like me. The officials told Saul what David had said, and Saul ordered them to tell David, all the king wants from you as payment for the bride is 4 skins of 100 dead Philistines as revenge on his enemies. Wait a minute. David has said he's not worthy of marrying the king's daughter. He supposed to marry the king's daughter when he killed Goliath. Then he was offered the oldest daughter, and at the last minute, she was married off to somebody else. Now he comes again and offers another one of his daughters. David says, I'm not worthy. Saul come back again and send his officials to tell him, you have to bring as payment, since you're not worthy, bring me the 4 skins of 100 dead Philistines. For those of y'all that don't know, and I don't know who don't know, whether you're male or female, you know that the foreskin is something that the Lord answered. A child within his first year of life, a male, the tip of his penis, the sheath, should be cut off. That's the foreskin. So he's asking him to bring 100 soldiers, because only the Israelites cut off the foreskin. It is a very painful thing to do. You have to be young. When I say young, I mean young. To the fact that somebody can hold you down. That's how much pain that is. You have to be young to be held down to get this done. So these men would have to be dead or near death for him to get the foreskins off of him. So basically he's hoping that while he's trying to accumulate 100, one of them will kill David. That's what he's counting on. Oh, it says right here. This is how Saul planned to have David killed by the Philistines. Saul's officials reported to David what Saul had said, and David was delighted with the thought of becoming the king's son-in-law. Before the day set for the wedding, David and his men went and killed 200 Philistines. He took their foreskins to the king and counted them all out to him so that he might become his son-in-law. So Saul had to give his daughter Michal in marriage to David. Saul realized clearly that the Lord was with David and also that his daughter Michal loved him, so he became even more afraid of David and was his enemy as long as he lived. The Philistine armies would come and fight, but in every battle, David was more successful than any other of Saul's officials. As a result, David became more famous. Saul told his son Jonathan and all the officials that he planned to kill David. But Jonathan was very fond of David, and so he said to him, "My father is trying to kill you. Please be careful tomorrow morning. Hide in some secret place and stay there. I will go stand by my father in the field where you are hiding, and I will speak to him about you. If I find out anything, I will let you know." Jonathan praised David to Saul and said, "Sir, don't do wrong to your servant David. He has never done you any wrong. On the contrary, everything he has done has been a great help to you. He risked his life when he killed Goliath, and the Lord won a great victory for Israel. When you saw it, you were glad. Why then do you now want to do wrong to an innocent man and kill David for no reason at all?" Saul was convinced by what Jonathan had said and made a vow in the Lord's name that he would not kill David. So Jonathan called David and told him everything, and he took him to Saul, and David served the king as he had before. War with the Philistines broke out again. David attacked them and defeated them so thoroughly that they fled. One day an evil spirit from the Lord took control of Saul. He was sitting in his house with a spear in his hand, and David was there playing his harp. Saul tried to pin David to the wall with his spear, but David dodged, and the spear stuck in the wall. David ran away and escaped. That night Saul sent some men to watch David's house and kill him the next morning. Michal, David's wife, warned him, "If you don't get away tonight, tomorrow you will be dead." She let him down from a window, and he ran away and escaped. Then she took the household idol and laid it on the bed, and put a pillow made of goat's hair at its head, and put a cover over it. When Saul's men came to get David, Michal told him that he was ill, but Saul sent them back to see David for themselves. He ordered them, "Carry him here in his bed, and I will kill him." They went inside and found the household idol in his bed and the goat's hair pillow at his head. Saul asked Michal, "Why have you tricked me like this and let my enemy escape?" She answered, "He said he would kill me if I didn't help him to escape." Now his own wife had turned on him. His wife was the one who helped him escape and told him to go. She turned on him. So now does not only Saul think that David's going to be king, but now he thinks that he threatened his daughter's life. David escaped and went to Samuel and Ramah and told him everything Saul had done to him. Then he and Samuel went to Naioth and stayed there. Saul was told David was in Naioth and Ramah, so he sent some men to arrest him. They saw the group of prophets dancing and shouting with Samuel as their leader. Then the Spirit of God took control of Saul's men, and they also began to dance and shout. When Saul heard of this, he sent more messengers, and they also began to dance and shout. He sent messengers a third time, and the same thing happened to them. Hold on. So, he sent 3 different people out there, 3 different sets of people out there to go bring David back. And they all went and became dancers. Most people will say, well, hey, you know what? The Lord is with him. Maybe I just need to leave him alone. Nope, he gonna go himself. So he himself started off for Ramah. When he came to the large well in Seku, he asked where Samuel and David was and was told they was at Naioth. As he was going there, the Spirit of God took control of him also, and he danced and shouted all the way to Naioth. He took off his clothes and danced and shouted in Samuel's presence and lay naked all that day and night. This is how the saying originated, as even Saul became a prophet. Then David fled from Naioth to Ramah and went to Jonathan. What have I done, he asked. What crime have I committed? What wrong have I done to your father to make him want to kill me? Jonathan answered, God forbid that you should die. My father tells me everything he does important and not, and he would not hide this from me. Is it true? But David answered, your father knows very much how much you like me, and has decided not to let you know what he plans to do, because you will be deeply hurt. I swear to you by the living Lord that I am only a step away from death. Jonathan said, I'll do anything you want. Tomorrow is the new moon festival, David replied, and I'm supposed to eat with the king. But if it's all right with you, I will go hide out in the fields until the evening of the day after tomorrow. If your father notices that I'm not at the table, tell him that I begged your permission to hurry home to Bethlehem, since it's a time for the annual sacrifice there for my whole family. If he says all right, I will be safe. But if he becomes angry, you will know he is determined to harm me. Please do me this favor and keep the sacred promise you made to me. But if I am guilty, kill me yourself. Why take me to your father to be killed? Don't even think such a thing, Jonathan answered. If I knew for certain that my father was determined to harm you, wouldn't I tell you? David then asked, who will let me know if your father answers you angrily? Let's go out to the fields, Jonathan answered. So they went, and Jonathan said to David, may the Lord of Israel be our witness. At this time tomorrow and on the following day, I will question my father. If his attitude towards you is good, I will send you word. If he intends to harm you, may the Lord strike me dead if I don't let you know about it and get you to safety away. May the Lord be with you as he was with my father. And if I remain alive, please keep your sacred promise and be loyal to me. But if I die, show the same kind of loyalty to my family forever. And when the Lord has completely destroyed all of your enemies, may our promise to each other still be unbroken. If it is broken, the Lord will punish you. Once again, Jonathan made David promise to love him, for Jonathan loved David as much as he loved himself. Then Jonathan said to him, since tomorrow is the new moon festival, your absence will be noticed if you aren't at the meal. The day after tomorrow, your absence will be noticed even more. So go to the place where you hid the other time and hide behind the pile of stones there. I will then shoot 3 arrows at it as though it was a target. Then I will tell my servant girl to go in and find them. If I tell him, look, the arrows are on this side of you, get them. That means you are safe and can come out. I swear by the living Lord that you will be in no danger. But if I tell him the arrows are on the other side of you, then leave, because the Lord is sending you away. As for the promise we have made to each other, the Lord will make sure that we keep it forever. So David hid in the fields. At the new moon festival, King Saul came to the mill, sat in his usual place by the wall. Abner sat next to him, and Jonathan sat opposite him. David's place was empty, but Saul said nothing that day because he thought something has happened to him and he's not ritually pure. On the following day after the new moon festival, David's place was still empty, and Saul asked Jonathan, why didn't David come to the mill either yesterday or today? Jonathan answered, he begged me to let him go to Bethlehem. Please let me go, he said, because our family is celebrating the sacrificial feast in town, and my brother ordered me to be there. So then if you are my friend, let me go and see my relatives. That is why he isn't at his place at your table. Saul was furious with Jonathan and said, how rebellious and faithless your mother was. Now I know you are taking sides with David and are disgracing yourself and that mother of yours. Don't you realize that as long as David is alive, you'll never be king of this country? Now go and bring him here. He must die. Why should he die? Jonathan replied. What has he done? At that, Saul threw his spear at Jonathan to kill him, and Jonathan realized that his father was really determined to kill David. Jonathan got up from the table in a rage and ate nothing that day. The second day of the new moon festival, he was deeply distressed about David because Saul had insulted him. The following morning, Jonathan went to the fields to meet David, as they agreed. He took a young boy with him, 36, and said to him, run and find the arrows I'm going to shoot. The boy ran, and Jonathan shot an arrow beyond him. When the boy reached the place where the arrow had fallen, Jonathan shouted to him, the arrow is further on. Don't just stand there, hurry up. The boy picked up the arrow and returned to his master. Not knowing what all that meant, only Jonathan and David knew. Jonathan gave up his weapons to the boy and told him to take them back to town. After the boy had left, David got up from behind the pile of stones, fell on his knees, and bowed with his face to the ground 3 times. Both he and Jonathan were crying as they kissed each other. David's grief was greater than Jonathan's. Then Jonathan said to David, God be with you. The Lord will make sure that you and I and your descendants and mine will forever keep the sacred promise we made to each other. Then David left, and Jonathan went back to town. The reason that I brought this up is I was showing you that when we see the truth, those of us that are not spiritually grounded, we will ignore it. Saul knows that God is not happy with him. Saul knows it. But instead of humbling himself and saying, Lord, what have I done to make you not happy with me anymore? See, the fact is, Saul hasn't done what the Lord wanted him to do. Saul began to get fat, greedy, and start slacking on the laws of God, not enforcing those laws to the people. His sons, Jonathan is a good one, but you can tell Jonathan seems almost sissified. He raised his sons up poorly. His sons cannot sit on the throne. And when the prophet Samuel tells him that, he's more determined to kill David because he knows that God is going to put David on the throne when he dies. Saul knows this. The people already love David. Now, God could just kill him. That'd be too easy. There's a lesson for us to learn. We can't out-trick God. We can't out-think God. Keep letting the devil tell you you can. You ain't going to get nowhere. Why is it that when men see the power of God, they forget it? Why do you think? Because somebody asked, if Jesus followed us around in a cloud, why doesn't he do it today? Didn't make a difference. When he was there, we still sinned and did what we wanted to do. It didn't make a difference. We still sinned and did what we wanted to do. The same way in Revelations, when Jesus come back, we still want to do what we want to do. And I've showed you throughout the history, men still think they can challenge God. As long as we think we can challenge God, there's no way we can walk with him. Christians said that Putin was a Christian. Putin knows he can't take on the whole world. He knows it. But his ego won't let him. The same way Pharaoh. Why did it take the firstborn, including his own, to get killed before he finally let the Israelites go? And then he still came back and tried to kill them. Long as you listen to that voice in your head, long as you listen to your ego. Now, Tristan asked early, who was the evil spirit that God sent in the cell? The evil spirit didn't matter where it came from. If Sal was walking with God, that evil spirit wouldn't be able to touch him. If Sal had his armor on, that spirit would have had no effect on him. Spirit didn't have to do much because the jealousy, the enviousness was already there. From the moment the women came and sang more for David, it was set in stone. It was set in stone. He was going to kill David. It's really going to come home. We should have kept reading. When the Samuel prophet tells him, your sons ain't worthy of being king, he really tries to kill David. And that's from Samuel, if y'all want to read. Samuel 1, if y'all want to read for yourself. Y'all want me to continue on? We can continue on with it next week. But I just wanted to show you, even knowing the anger of God, and these people had Jesus with them in a cloud every day. And they still thought they could beat. What do you think people think in 2022? If Jesus is there in a cloud and they still act a fool, there ain't been no cloud for thousands of years. Is that why we've gotten worse and worse and worse and worse and worse? Because Jesus and God got tired of following us around. It don't work. The same way you got women whose husbands don't come home at night. They try to track them and follow them around. You don't like what you find when you do find. Is that when you start busting the windows out and start slashing tires and burn the clothes? When you go find out something. But you didn't have to go sneak around. The evidence already showed you what was going on. These people were doing this stuff while they were out in the open. While Jesus and God was, I'm sorry, Jesus was right there in the cloud above them, and they still were brazen enough to sin right in front of them. It's something wrong with us. That's why we need Jesus. We need Jesus to come in and change us from the inside out. We can't do it by ourselves. We'll always make an excuse or find a reason to keep doing what we know is wrong, but we want to do. We'll always find a reason. We'll make up something. Where did you go, Tristan? Did you pass out? Well, all right, y'all. I gotta go fill out this paperwork for social services and fill these money orders out for the rent, and we're gonna go mail them tomorrow. It would have been nice to do it today, but I'm hungry. My stomach is growling. I ate these tangerines. I ate 3 of them. I want some food, and like I said, I already got the food in the pot. We having shrimp lo mein. And I chopped up half an onion and mixed that in. I forgot the barbecue sauce. Doggone it. That's all right though. And but I got the cheese. We got mozzarella cheese. So I'm about to go get my grease on. If that don't fill me up, then I'll fry some chicken thighs. But I think that should hold me over. We'll see. But anyway, we got the Bible study, and it was a day late. And I hope that I brought the point home. If you ain't got Jesus at work in you, you at the mercy of the voice in your head and your ego. You are at the mercy. You are at the mercy. Remember that song? Mercy, mercy me. Is that Marvin Gaye? You at the mercy. Because your body wants to do the things you know that Jesus and God can't stand. And all your friends want to do it. And when you try to oppose them and say, nope, I'm going to do right, they make it their job to prove you ain't better than them because you doing right. We're gonna bring you down. We're gonna make you fall. So everybody can say, hey, ain't no use in trying. You don't get nowhere. Look at him. He was doing so good. Look at him. He couldn't hold it. Why do you think you can hold it? He couldn't hang on. Why do you think you can hang on? So alrighty, everybody. I hope y'all have a great night. Hope that y'all have a great night. I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna take my clothes off, weigh myself. Gonna take my reading, my sugar reading. I couldn't do it earlier because I didn't have any insulin. So I got the insulin today, and so we're gonna go take the insulin. It's gonna be a little higher because I'm hungry. I'm gonna go ahead and eat. My stomach is growling. I'm gonna go ahead and get my grease on. Them 3 tangerines ain't do nothing. I'm gonna go get my grease on. Like I said, it's already halfway cooked. I'm just gonna turn the burner back on. By the time I get undressed, get everything set up, it should be to a boil. Then I'll strain it and add the mozzarella cheese, and that's what I'm gonna have. We're gonna have shrimp lo mein topped with mozzarella cheese. Some of y'all are saying, well, where is your meat at? Well, it's shrimp in there mixed in. And like I said, I cut up half an onion and put that in there. So that should give us some flavor. And I'm gonna go chill. I'm gonna bring the speaker in, take it off the bike, and bring it into the bedroom. And I like having that speaker behind me because it just lets me hear all the vocals. And still, because it's also connected to the subwoofer, it's the same connection. When you put the connector in, it comes out of the decoder and goes into, I got it into a splitter. And so the rear sounds are coming from the two rear speakers, but our speaker, I have that at a lower level directly behind. It's not directly behind me. It's about 4 feet behind me, but those are up here now, just halfway up. But this one is lower, and so it's coming right at me. Even though I'm above it, it's still coming at me. So I get to hear the words, but also the bass comes through there, and also the rear sounds. Especially, I was watching what is it called? That thing on Prime. It's called Wheel of Followers or something. It's set back in the old it's set back in the old days, like King Arthur days or whatever. And it was this scene. The guy had a fire lit, and you could hear the crackling of the flames. Anybody who ever did a campfire, you hear that crackling. Right? It was just like being there. I mean, it was just like being there. So anyway, have a great night. I'll see y'all tomorrow. We got a mobile live tomorrow. I'm gonna try and go out during the day. We're gonna ride up to the post office, and then we're gonna ride up to the rural farm, and I'm gonna get my cans for they still got that sale. I'm getting them for the month. I'm getting them for the month. So we probably gonna get like 20 cans. And I might hit the market on the way back. Like I said, I didn't want to load Marsha up. So like I said, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Let me get out of here. Y'all have a great night. It's 11 o'clock. Peace and love, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. I pray for y'all every day. Y'all have a good night, and we are out. As Neil would say, see you soon. As Chung Lee would say, don't leave home without the wasp spray. And as I say, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Have a great one, y'all.